There's more to that etude. I'm not going to play the rest of it. Hey YouTube, welcome back to another video where I have acquired two very cool Bach things. After quite a bit of searching, I've been looking for both of these things for a while. One of them is this. This might be surprising. This is a Bach Model 440. Yes, bass trumpet. I just made a video about a Bach bass trumpet, a Model 440, where I was like, yeah, don't buy these. They're a little bit too expensive. And I bought one. I did not pay the kind of like usual market price for this. Usually these are like $3,500, $4,000. I'm not going to pay that amount of money. So I found an instrument that was not that much, and I got it. And I'm quite happy with it. This is not exactly the same as the Bach bass trumpet that I had in my last video. That was a New York model. That was a very early instrument. Different than this in many ways. This is a corporation model, just like all my other Bach stuff is corporation era. These instruments changed over the years, and I wish I had the other horn with me to show you the changes. I literally just gave it back, and I don't have both of them at the same time, which is a bummer. But short list, this is no longer a U like it is on the New York, and I actually think this might have been replaced. So this might not be original to the instrument, but on the New York, that's a saddle instead of the closed loop. These have these single-piece valve casings. They're all just brass. The New York models have nickel-silver balusters, whatever they're called, B-A-L-U-S-T-E-R. That's what these top things are called. Those are two-piece valve casings on the earlier horns. They changed that at some point, obviously, just to make it cheaper to make. And there's a couple other changes. I feel like this slide, and this is main tuning slide, actually. There's two main tuning slides. I feel like this was not removable on the New York. I thought that was just tubing, not doubled over tubing that you can remove. I don't know why this would be removable. There's a main tuning slide, and it's got quite a bit of pull and more than you'd ever need. And then you have double that again. Again, I don't know why that's a removable piece. It has a spit valve, so it's, you know, you can let the spit out of it. I thought that was not removable on the New York, but again, I don't have it with me. The big change, and the one that matters, is that the tuning slide is shorter. On the New York, I think the stock spot for it was like there. That was how it was built. These outer tubes were just longer. On this, and this is how it comes from the factory, I'm pretty sure, it's much shorter. So this can play much more easily up to pitch, especially with a larger mouthpiece. The other one I literally could not use because it would just barely get up to 440. I still think this is probably a little bit too long to get up to like 441, 442, but it would not be too difficult to get there. There's a lot of straight tubing on these instruments. For example, that tuning slide down here that I just showed you, if you just cut off the last part of this, you'd have a shorter instrument. Why not do that? The valves, very good. The rest of the instrument is in pretty good shape. There's a reason this was a little bit cheaper than the usual rate. The bell has definitely been crunched in the past, rebuilt. It's been re-lacquered with some success. There's definitely some wear spots. I feel like this horn was like used and played a lot at some point, because it looks like some of this stuff is like actually pretty well worn. I don't know if that's from being in the case. Maybe it's raw brass against the case material had done that or something. But otherwise, feels like it's very well built. All the slides move, the valves are good. It plays very well. I was a little worried. Anytime you pick up any Bach, you're kind of rolling the dice. And especially with a bass trumpet, I know these are not super consistent. Some of them do not play very well. And this one plays great. I'm very happy with it. Honestly, it plays the same or better than the New York that I was just borrowing. And therefore, it's a good upgrade. This means I am selling my Lidl bass trumpet I do not need 2 bass trumpets. And of course, I've already put it up for sale, and I've received about 1,000 messages about it. So please, it's already sold at this point, right? Yes, I have someone literally coming to my house right now to possibly buy it, pick it up. Everybody wants this bass trumpet for some reason. I guess I should have sold it for more money. But again, Bach bass trumpet, I'm pretty jazzed to have one of these. Like I said in my last video, these are good. They're good instruments. They're just in that middle zone where it's not really worth buying. This is not as good as the really good German bass trumpets, and it's a lot more money than the Lidls, or even the Chinese stuff, which I probably wouldn't buy either. But like a New York one of these costs literally 5 times, 6 times as much as my Lidl did. And it's better, but it's not like 6 times as much better. Thankfully, this was not that much money, so I'm very happy with it. Even cooler is it came with a way better case than the New York did. The New York was in this big boxy case, kind of looked like a modern trumpet, like 3 trumpet case. And it was the heaviest case of any of the cases that I currently own. It was so heavy. Like, just carrying that around by itself was one of the hardest things I can remember doing since I was a kid playing euphonium, lugging around a giant 321 case. It was so heavy. This came with this nice little corporation case, form-fitting, not a lot larger than my Lidl case, which is just a little bit thinner. But also, man, it's got the leather. It's such a nice little case. I'm super happy to have this. This might be an instrument, and I'm probably not very serious about this, but this might be an instrument that I fly with. It's very small. It's not going to get noticed. It's easy to lug around, and it's really fun to play. It's just really easy. It's got nice valves. Really jazzed about this. This is cool. So that's an entire instrument. I also got a bucket list item. One of those items that I've not talked about because I don't want people to know about it, but I finally got the Holy Grail. This is a Bach 42R bell. R standing for Sterling Silver Plus. This is a Sterling Silver 42 bell. Not a lot of these around. They made them in the 90s. I don't think they made them in the 80s. And it was an option up until kind of semi-recently. They just didn't make a lot of them. They're very cool. It's sterling silver. It's like a Silver Sonic 42 in more ways than one. And yeah, I'm very excited about this. The only bummer, you notice this is not on an instrument, is that these are Shires mounts. Now, I do not own a Shires tenor, so I can't just put this on there and try it out. I did friction fit it to both of my setups, which fit Bach artisan bells, which is different spacing, all sorts of different, and it was pretty awesome. So very excited to try this out. I'm first going to have a couple of people try it out on their Shire setups to see if they like it. I don't want to torch this apart without having played it at all on anything for reals, and then find out I don't like it very much, and then have it stuck with artisan fittings. So I am going to try it out. You can see this is actually lacquered, and part of the lacquer has come off. I didn't know that these were lacquered. I thought they were just silver. A lot of sterling stuff is kind of like that, but again, some sterling stuff is not like that. The Silver Sonics are also lacquered. I've never seen the lacquer come off like this. This might be like Bach, typical Bach lacquer, where it just comes off in hot water. In which case, I might just take the rest off. Not sure. In any case, these are really cool. They are electroformed, so this is not spun on a mandrel to begin with. They don't start with like a sheet of silver, as far as I know. I might be making that up, but these are put on a mandrel and they just attract silver to it until you have a bell, which makes them different in a lot of ways. When you spin a bell, the thickness of the bell is totally different along its length. A lot of times it's really thin here at the end, it's really thick here at the stem, but when you electroform a bell, it's kind of uniform all the way through because the plating just attracts itself evenly across the entire thing. So not only is it a different material, but the profile of the thickness of the bell, which makes a big difference, is totally different. I did like it a lot on my setups. I tested it against my Friedman Gold Brass bell, and this honestly just seemed to play better. Like, notes came out more easily, had a very cool sound. Against my yellow 42 bell, my Corporation bell, I thought it was relatively comparable, and maybe the yellow bell was a little warmer. So we'll see. I'm very interested to see how this comes out. I want to see how it plays on some Shire setups first, and if I'm not in love with it, it gets sold for quite a lot of money because these are rare and kind of worth a lot. I'm sure just the silver itself is probably worth like $1,500. I mean, this is like substantial. There are also 2-ish generations of these. I'm not super up on the lore, but I think early bells are kind of thicker. They're just made a little more like a Silver Sonic, which are usually pretty thick bells. The later ones are much thinner. They use a lot less silver, and those ones are a little lighter playing, maybe not as good. And I have a feeling this is an earlier bell because it feels rather substantial. It does not feel thin. It feels heavier than my brass bells, which should be thinner, I would think. So I think this might be an earlier one. Again, I am not super up on the lore. There's nowhere to like look this stuff up, so very excited. 2 very cool Bach things. Finally upgraded my bass trumpet, which I actually did not expect to do, maybe ever, because bass trumpets are hard to find. And 42R bell. Yes, I've been looking for one for a long time. Usually they're attached to an instrument that I don't necessarily need. I just need the bell, and I finally got one. That's really cool. That's all I got for now. I'll see you all in another video soon. Bye-bye.